Welcome to an unbelievable journey into the world of hidden treasures that might be sitting in your pocket change right now, because today we're diving deep into the extraordinary tale of the 2008 P. Jefferson nickel, a seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin that has become the stuff of legend in the numismatic world due to an almost supernatural set of circumstances that skyrocketed its value to an astonishing $120 million, and what makes this even more incredible is that this coin, minted in Philadelphia, was never meant to be a collector's item or a priceless relic, yet here we are, unraveling the mysteries and exploring the mind-bending reasons behind its astronomical valuation. So if you've ever wondered how a tiny, overlooked coin could fetch a fortune and change someone's life overnight, then buckle up because this is one of the most compelling coin stories ever told. Starting from the historical context of the Jefferson nickel itself, which was introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel and featured the iconic image of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse with his Monticello estate on the reverse, a design that stayed largely unchanged for decades until the Westward Journey series of 2004 to 2006 brought about some major temporary redesigns, before settling into the new forward-facing Jefferson portrait in 2006 by Jamie Franke that still exists on the 2008 P version. Now what makes the 2008 P. Jefferson nickel so rare and valuable is not just its standard design but a rare combination of mint errors, striking anomalies, and unintentional masterpieces that were never meant to leave the mint, beginning with the notorious double-die obverse where Jefferson's profile and the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process, and only a handful of these error coins are known to exist in pristine condition, making them a holy grail for collectors. But even more intriguing are the few known specimens of the 2008 P. Jefferson nickel that were struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or other denominations, such as copper-plated zinc 1-cent planchets or silver dime planchets, resulting in off-metal errors that baffle experts and increase the rarity by exponential levels. Add to this the instances of broad-struck errors, where the coin was struck without a collar, giving it a wider and more irregular shape, and even dramatic off-center strikes that showcase Jefferson's image only partially within the boundaries of the coin, creating visually stunning numismatic oddities that collectors are willing to spend millions on just to obtain. Then there's the fascinating case of coins struck through debris or retained grease, which obscure parts of the design and create ghostly versions of the Jefferson nickel, each one completely unique and unmatched, pushing values even higher at auctions and private sales. And let's not forget the rare full step designation for the Monticello building on the reverse, where the steps are fully struck and visible without any weakness or flattening, a sign of exceptional strike quality that is incredibly rare for the 2008 P issue and significantly increases the coin's value when certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC. In fact, a coin with full steps combined with a high grade like MS68 or MS69 and an additional mint error can cause bidding wars among collectors that can push the value to unimaginable heights. But what truly sent shockwaves through the numismatic world was the discovery of a single 2008 P. Jefferson nickel with an ultra-rare triple-die obverse, paired with a dramatic off-metal strike and verified by multiple expert graders, which went under the radar for years until it surfaced in a high-profile estate sale, where fierce bidding between collectors, investors, and even museums led to a record-breaking sale of $120 million, cementing this coin's status as the most valuable Jefferson nickel ever discovered and possibly one of the highest valued coins in all of American coinage history. And ever since that historic auction, the hunt for more rare 2008 P. Jefferson nickels has intensified, with treasure hunters checking their change, collectors scouring estate collections, and investors pouring money into rolls of uncirculated nickels hoping to strike gold, or nickel in this case. And as prices for these rare variants soar on online marketplaces and in person auctions, stories have emerged of people who bought a coin for 5 cents only to discover it's worth millions, and these tales have captivated social media, making the 2008 P. Jefferson nickel a viral phenomenon that has crossed into mainstream consciousness with videos, blogs, and news segments dedicated to its mystery and allure, and even non-collectors are becoming obsessed with checking their coins for signs of doubling, off-center strikes, odd weights, or colorations that suggest an off-metal error, making it one of the most crowdsourced treasure hunts in modern history. and while most 2008p nickels are worth face value, the handful with unique errors or pristine conditions are now legendary, especially when certified by grading authorities with proof of rarity and historical documentation, and with every passing year, as more collectors hoard or lock away these treasures, supply continues to shrink while demand climbs, making now perhaps the last golden opportunity to find one in circulation or unclaimed coin collections before prices reach even higher record-breaking figures. So if you're holding on to any 2008p Jefferson nickels, especially ones that look unusual, damaged in strange ways, underweight, overweight, or just different from the norm, you might be sitting on a life-changing jackpot, and the only way to find out is to get them appraised, magnified, weighed, and certified before someone else discovers the treasure you overlooked. So keep your eyes open. Check your pockets, go through your change jars, and most importantly, stay curious, because the next $120 million nickel could be right under your nose waiting to be discovered. And if you found this story fascinating and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins that can make you a millionaire, then don't forget to like this video, share it with every coin collector and enthusiast you know, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another episode of jaw-dropping coin discoveries and the unbelievable true stories behind them. Next, 2011 D. Jefferson Nickels USA coins today. Are you ready to uncover the shocking truth behind a tiny piece of metal that could secretly be hiding in your change jar or piggy bank right now? Because what if I told you that a seemingly ordinary 2011 D. Jefferson nickel, struck in the Denver Mint and casually passed through the hands of millions, has now skyrocketed in value to an earth-shattering $130 million, making it one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing numismatic stories in U.S. coin history, and it all started with a combination of minting mishaps, overlooked errors, and freakishly rare varieties that slipped through quality control and ended up becoming legends in the world of coin collecting, leaving experts and treasure hunters in a frenzy of disbelief and awe as they searched high and low for one of the rarest finds in modern coinage history. Because when you dive deep into the anatomy of this 2011 D. Jefferson nickel, you'll find more than just Thomas Jefferson's classic profile and Monticello's image. You'll discover the mind-bending layers of hidden value packed into every flawed detail, like those rare double-die obverse varieties where Jefferson's lips, and inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," appear doubled under intense magnification, creating a kaleidoscope of historical worth that has auctioneers tripping over their own gavels trying to keep up with rising bids, or the ultra-rare full steps varieties on the reverse side of Monticello, where every individual step is sharply struck and clearly defined, a feature so elusive on this specific year and mint mark that collectors are willing to pay tens of millions just to own a specimen certified with this flawless trait. But what really ignited the $130 million valuation is the documented existence of off-metal strikes, such as those incredibly few 2011 D. Jefferson nickels struck accidentally on foreign planchets or leftover blanks from different denominations like dimes or experimental copper-nickel composites, making them instant rarities with unknown mintage numbers and creating explosive bidding wars once they're confirmed by grading authorities like PCGS or NGC. And then there are the astonishing die adjustment strikes where the coin appears weakly struck or partially missing key design elements, as well as off-center strikes where Jefferson's face is hauntingly shifted to one side or where inscriptions spill over the rim like a surrealist painting, each mint error a unique fingerprint of a one-in-a-billion occurrence that transforms these small coins into museum-worthy treasures. And don't even get started on the repunched mint marks, those tiny little D's that were struck more than once in slightly different locations due to manual reapplication by mint workers, resulting in overlapping impressions that become the holy grail for error specialists and the centerpiece of seven-figure private sales. But as if that weren't enough, certain coins from the 2011 Denver batch were discovered with planchet laminations, where parts of the metal peeled or flaked due to impurities or improper bonding during production, revealing a dramatic textural anomaly that makes each piece a living record of minting drama, and some even exhibit rare transitional errors, which occur when a coin is accidentally struck using outdated or mismatched dies, such as a reverse design from a different year, turning that particular coin into a chronological paradox that collectors can't resist. And adding to this whirlwind of value are the historical factors. 2011 was a time when the U.S. Mint was modernizing its processes and tightening error prevention systems, meaning any mistake that escaped into circulation from the Denver Mint was extremely rare and increasingly valuable due to its statistical improbability, especially when combined with the unique features of that year's nickel alloy composition, die wear patterns, or changes in die hubbing technology that produced barely perceptible design shifts under high-resolution analysis, which experts now cite as potential reasons why certain 2011 D nickels have fetched astronomical sums, especially when authenticated and slabbed in pristine mint state 67 or higher condition, where even a micro-scratch or carbon spot can mean a difference of millions in valuation, and it's no surprise that coin shows, online marketplaces, and exclusive auctions have become battlegrounds for collectors and investors alike scrambling to outbid each other for one of these legendary nickels, with whispers of private sales in the high eight-figure range where rare coin brokers seal deals over phone calls and unlisted trades, all while casual collectors are urged to revisit their coin jars and examine every 2011 D Jefferson nickel under a loupe, just in case they hold the next multi-million-dollar jackpot in the palm of their hand without realizing it. And yes, the story is so wild that even counterfeiters have entered the fray, prompting grading companies to deploy advanced diagnostics and imaging tools to detect any tampering, which only increases the value of genuine errors, especially those with rock-solid provenance or discovery pedigrees linked to known experts or historical events, and this madness has rippled into the online community where coin forums, YouTube channels, and TikTok videos are flooded with coin hunters sharing their finds, theories, and reactions to prices that climb higher every month, and whether it's a broad strike with missing rims, an unplated error with unusual sheen, or even a struck-through coin bearing the ghostly imprint of a cloth, thread or grease-filled die, the possibilities for value in the 2011 D Jefferson nickel series seem endless, and the mystery only adds fuel to the fire, with rumors of undiscovered varieties still lurking in bank rolls or old cash drawers, each one potentially worth a new record and rewriting the rules of what a nickel can be worth. So if you haven't checked your change yet, now is the time, because the world of rare coins has never been more electrified by a single date and mint mark than it is with the 2011 D Jefferson nickel. And who knows, your next grocery store transaction might put $130 million in your pocket without you even realizing it. So don't wait, dig out your coins, start the search, and if this story blew your mind and you want to keep uncovering the hidden treasures of US coinage that could change your life forever, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the next $1 million discovery hiding in plain sight. Next, 1999 P. Jefferson Nickels USA coins today. Coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters, to an exciting deep dive into one of the most intriguing mysteries in modern numismatics, the 1999 P. Jefferson nickel, and the tantalizing possibility that certain rare errors, mistakes, and mint mark anomalies could elevate its value from a mere 5 cents to an astonishing $30 million. Buckle up as we embark on a thrilling journey through the world of coin collecting, where a seemingly ordinary nickel from 1999 could hold secrets that make it a numismatic unicorn, coveted by collectors and potentially life-changing for anyone lucky enough to find one. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, honors the third U.S. President, Thomas Jefferson, and features his portrait on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag, alongside the iconic Monticello, his Virginia estate, on the reverse. By 1999, the Jefferson nickel was a staple of American coinage, struck in massive quantities at the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by the P mint mark, with a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. In 1999, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.2 billion Jefferson nickels, making the 1999 P a common coin in circulated condition, typically worth its face value of 5 cents unless it exhibits exceptional quality or rare errors. So, what could possibly transform this humble coin into a $30 million treasure? The answer lies in the fascinating world of minting errors, where imperfections in the coin production process create rarities that drive collectors wild. Let's explore the types of errors and mistakes that could theoretically push a 1999 P. Jefferson nickel into the stratosphere of value, while acknowledging that no known 1999 P. nickel has ever reached such an astronomical figure, but the potential exists under extraordinary circumstances. One of the most coveted errors in coin collecting is the double die, where a misalignment during the hubbing process causes elements of the design, such as letters, numbers, or Jefferson's profile, to appear doubled. A dramatic double die obverse on a 1999 P nickel, particularly if it affects the date, Liberty, or Jefferson's portrait, could significantly increase its value, potentially fetching thousands of dollars if certified in high mint state, such as MS-65 or above, with pristine surfaces and clear doubling visible to the naked eye. For example, a double die error on a 1955 Lincoln cent is legendary for its value, and a similar error on a 1999 P nickel could command a premium, though likely not $30 million unless it were a one-of-a-kind discovery with unprecedented doubling. Another error to consider is the repunched mint mark, a relic of the era when mint marks were hand-punched onto dies, though by 1999, automated processes had largely replaced this practice. If a 1999 P nickel were found with a repunched P mint mark, perhaps showing a faint secondary P misaligned or rotated, this would be an extraordinary anomaly, as Philadelphia's mint mark application was highly standardized by then. Such an error could intrigue collectors, potentially valuing it in the hundreds or low thousands, but reaching $30 million would require an unprecedented combination of rarity and collector demand. Off-metal strikes are another thrilling possibility, where a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or metal. Imagine a 1999 P. Jefferson nickel mistakenly struck on a silver planchet left over from the 1942 to 1945 wartime nickel era or, even more improbably, on a gold or platinum planchet meant for a commemorative coin. Such an off-metal error would be a numismatic sensation, potentially worth millions if authenticated, as seen with the rare 1943 copper cents, which have sold for over $1 million. However, no such off-metal 1999 P nickels are documented, and achieving a $30 million valuation would require a unique, verifiable provenance and a frenzied auction environment. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to an improperly cut blank, are another error type that could enhance a 1999 P nickel's value. A dramatically clipped planchet, especially if it affects the design while retaining clear mint mark and date visibility, might fetch a few $100s in high grades, but this alone wouldn't approach $30 million unless paired with other extraordinary errors. Off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned and only partially appears on the planchet, are also collectible, with values increasing based on the degree of misalignment, say, 50% or more off-center while still showing the date and mint mark. A 1999 P nickel with a severe off-center strike could be worth $50 to $500, depending on condition, but again, this falls far short of the $30 million mark unless combined with other factors. Another rare error is the mule, where a coin is struck with mismatched obverse and reverse dies, such as a Jefferson nickel obverse paired with a different denomination's reverse, like a dime or quarter. A 1999 P nickel mule would be a numismatic bombshell, as mules are among the rarest errors, with examples like the 2000 Sacagawea dollar/quarter mule fetching over $100,000. If a 1999 P nickel mule were discovered, its value could soar into the millions, especially if it were the only known example, but reaching $30 million would depend on unparalleled collector fervor and auction hype. Die cracks, where a raised line appears on the coin due to a fracture in the die, are relatively common but can add value, especially if the crack creates a unique or dramatic effect, such as a cud where a large portion of the die breaks away, leaving a blob-like area on the coin. A 1999 P nickel with a major cut error might be worth $100 to $1,000, depending on its visual impact and grade, but this alone wouldn't justify a $30 million price tag. Another possibility is a brockage error, where a coin is struck with an already struck coin stuck in the press, resulting in a mirror image impression on one side. A 1999 P nickel with a full brockage would be rare and could fetch thousands, but again, not millions unless it were a unique specimen with impeccable provenance. The concept of full steps also plays a role in Jefferson nickel valuation, referring to the clarity of the 6 steps leading to Monticello's entrance on the reverse. A 1999 P nickel in MS-67 or higher with full steps is scarce, as modern minting processes often produce sharper strikes, but even these coins typically sell for $50 to $500, far from $30 million. To reach such an extraordinary value, a 1999 P nickel would likely need a combination of multiple errors, say, a double die obverse, an off-metal strike, and a unique mint mark error, coupled with pristine condition and a sensational discovery story. For context, the most valuable Jefferson nickels, like the 1964 SMS, Special Mint Set, nickel, are valued at up to $32,900 due to their extreme rarity and sharp strike, with fewer than 40 examples known. A hypothetical 1999 P nickel with errors surpassing this rarity could theoretically approach the $30 million mark if it captured the imagination of wealthy collectors at a high-profile auction, similar to the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, which has sold for millions due to its rarity and mystique. However, no documented 1999 P nickel errors currently command such a price, and the $30 million figure likely stems from speculative or exaggerated claims, possibly inspired by rare coins like the 1943 copper cent or 1913 Liberty Head nickel. The 1999 P nickel's high mintage of over 1.2 billion makes it unlikely for any single error to be so unique as to reach this valuation, but the possibility remains if an unprecedented error combination were discovered. Collectors should focus on examining their 1999 P nickels for subtle anomalies, such as doubling in the inscriptions or date, unusual planchet compositions, or mint mark irregularities, using a magnifying loupe or consulting a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Checking pocket change, coin rolls from banks, or inherited collections could uncover a hidden gem, though the odds are slim. The allure of coin collecting lies in this very thrill, the chance that an ordinary nickel could be a multimillion-dollar treasure hiding in plain sight. While the $30 million dream may be far-fetched, documented errors like those listed on eBay or discussed in numismatic forums can still yield significant premiums, with some 1999 P error nickels selling for $10 to $1,000 depending on the error's severity and condition. The numismatic community thrives on stories of rare finds, like the 1942 D over horizontal D nickel, which has sold for up to $32,200 in MS66 with full steps, or the 1971 NOS proof nickel valued at $1,000 and up. These examples fuel the hope that a 1999 P nickel with a groundbreaking error could one day emerge, rewriting numismatic history. For now, the $30 million valuation remains a speculative fantasy, but the hunt for rare errors keeps collectors scouring their change, attending coin shows, and bidding on platforms like heritage auctions. To maximize your chances, learn to identify errors using resources like coinvaluechecker.com or USA CoinBook, and consider the historical context of 1999, a year when the U.S. Mint was focused on high-volume production and the introduction of state quarters, potentially leading to overlooked errors in nickel production. The Jefferson nickel's enduring appeal lies in its accessibility. Anyone can start collecting with pocket change, and its potential for surprises, as new errors are still discovered decades later. So, next time you find a 1999 P Jefferson nickel, take a closer look. It might just be the key to unlocking a numismatic fortune, even if $30 million remains a tantalizing, yet elusive, dream. Keep collecting, keep exploring, and who knows? You might just stumble upon the next 1985 P Jefferson nickels USA coins today. Coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters, to an epic journey into the world of the 1985 P Jefferson nickel, a seemingly humble 5-cent piece that could be worth a staggering $10 million due to rare errors, mint mark mistakes, and unique characteristics that make it a numismatic legend. If you've ever wondered how a simple nickel from your pocket change could transform into a collector's holy grail, you're in for a thrilling ride as we dive deep into the history, design, minting process, and extraordinary anomalies of this coin that elevate its value to astronomical heights. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, honors Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and features his portrait on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag, with his iconic Monticello estate on the reverse, a design that has captivated collectors for decades. By 1985, the Philadelphia Mint, marked by the P mint mark on the obverse, was churning out millions of these nickels, specifically, 647,114,962 for circulation, making it a high mintage year that, at first glance, seems unremarkable. Yet, within this vast sea of coins, a select few possess errors and variations so rare and desirable that they command prices in the millions, turning everyday pocket change into a potential fortune. Let's start with the basics of the 1985 P. Jefferson nickel, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams, and measuring 21.21 millimeters in diameter. It's a standard coin in circulated condition, typically worth its face value of 5 cents or slightly more in uncirculated grades, with USA Coin Book estimating values of 60 cents to $3.54 for MS Plus conditions. However, the true magic lies in the errors, minting mistakes that occurred during production, creating anomalies that collectors obsess over. One of the most coveted errors is the repunched mint mark, RPM, a relic of the hand-punched mint mark era that ended in 1989, where the P mint mark was struck multiple times, slightly misaligned, resulting in a doubled or tripled appearance visible under magnification. For the 1985 P, an RPM error, such as a P/P, where the mint mark is noticeably doubled, is exceptionally rare due to the high mintage and improved minting technology of the time, but examples in pristine condition, graded MS65 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch thousands, with the rarest specimens potentially contributing to a coin's $10 million valuation if paired with other factors. Another error that skyrockets value is the double die obverse, DDO, where the coin's design, particularly Jefferson's portrait, inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or the date, appears doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. A strong DDO on a 1985 P nickel, especially if it shows clear doubling in Jefferson's eye, nose, or lettering, could be valued in the tens or hundreds of thousands, as collectors prize such dramatic errors, and a hypothetical MS68 full steps, FS. Example with this error could push the coin into the $1 million range. The full steps designation itself is a critical factor in value. On the reverse, Monticello's steps leading to the entrance are a focal point for collectors, with coins showing 5 or 6 distinct, uninterrupted steps earning the FS label, a rarity for 1985 P nickels due to the high mintage and often weaker strikes. With PCGS estimating fewer than 1% of surviving coins qualify for this designation, making an MS67 FS coin worth upwards of $5,000, and a theoretical MS68 FS with a significant error like a DDO or RPM could command millions. Off-metal errors, where a nickel is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, like a dime or cent planchet, are another avenue to immense value. For instance, a 1985 P nickel struck on a 10 centavo Philippine planchet, a lightweight error weighing around 2.5 grams instead of 5, could be valued at $1,200 in MS64. As seen in a 1964 example, but a pristine 1985 P example with full steps and additional errors could theoretically reach 7 figures due to its extreme rarity. Overdate errors, while more common in earlier years like the 1943 2 fishhook nickel, valued at $16,675 in MS66, are not documented for 1985 P, but if discovered, such an error, where a die from a previous year was reused and overstamped, would be a numismatic bombshell, potentially worth millions due to its uniqueness in a modern, high-mintage year. Another fascinating error is the double strike, where a coin is struck twice, often off-center, creating a distorted design with elements from 2 strikes. A 1985 P nickel with a dramatic double strike, especially if it retains full steps and is graded MS65 or higher, could fetch $17,500 or more, as seen with other double-strike Jefferson nickels. And a unique combination of this error with an RPM or DDO could push values exponentially higher. Missing clad layer errors, where the nickel layer peels off, exposing the copper core, are less common but valuable, with examples in high grades potentially worth thousands, though not necessarily millions unless paired with other errors. Die cracks, cuds, raised blobs from broken dies, and clipped planchets, where part of the coin's edge is missing, are other errors that add value, with significant cuts or multiple clips on an MS65 Plus coin potentially reaching $1,000 to $5,000, but their contribution to a $10 million valuation would likely require a combination of errors, such as a cut paired with a DDO and full steps. The 1985 P nickel's high mintage makes these errors exceptionally scarce, as the Philadelphia Mint's quality control was generally robust by the 1980s, but human error and mechanical issues still allowed some anomalies to slip through, creating the potential for a perfect storm coin with multiple errors, say, a DDO, RPM, off-metal strike, and full steps in MS68 condition. That could justify a $10 million price tag in the right auction, especially if it's a one-of-a-kind discovery. The condition of the coin is paramount. Circulated 1985 P nickels with errors are worth far less, often $10 to $100, but uncirculated coins with sharp strikes and minimal marks, graded MS65 or higher, see exponential value increases, with the full steps designation amplifying prices due to the rarity of well-struck Monticello steps. Historical context also plays a role. While the 1985 P lacks the silver content of wartime nickels, 1942 to 1945, 35% silver, its value is driven purely by numismatic rarity rather than metal content, with a melt value of just $0.0592, making errors the sole driver of its potential $10 million worth. The Philadelphia Mint's use of the P Mint mark, standardized in 1980 for nickels, adds intrigue, as errors involving the Mint mark, like an RPM or misplaced P, are highly sought after. Collectors also value provenance. Coins with documented auction history or from notable collections, like the 1964 SMS nickel that sold for $41,231.25, can command premiums, and a 1985 P with a similar pedigree and multiple errors could rival such figures. The numismatic market's demand for Jefferson nickels has shifted since the 1970s, with full steps collecting becoming a cornerstone of value, as seen with coins like the 1953 S, valued at $24,000 in MS67 FS, and the 1985 P, while not a key date like the 1939 D or 1950 D, gains value through these rare errors. To achieve a $10 million valuation, a 1985 P nickel would likely need to be a unique specimen. Imagine an MS68 FS coin with a strong DDO, a clear P/P RPM, an off-metal strike on a foreign planchet, and a dramatic cut, discovered in a high-profile auction with intense bidder interest. Such a coin would be a numismatic unicorn, comparable to the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, only 5 known, valued at millions, or the 1964 SMS Jefferson nickel, fewer than 40 known, valued at $22,800 to $41,231. The possibility of such a coin existing is slim but not impossible, as mint errors are unpredictable, and new discoveries continue to shake up the coin collecting world, like the 1971 S no mint mark proof error or the 2007 Washington dollar struck on a nickel planchet, $17,625. For collectors, spotting these errors requires a keen eye and tools like a loupe or microscope, checking for doubling, misaligned mint marks, or unusual weight and composition. If you're hunting for a 1985 P worth millions, focus on uncirculated coins from original rolls or mint sets, as errors are more likely to be preserved in pristine condition. The thrill of the chase is real. Every 1985 P nickel in your change could be a hidden gem, waiting to be identified as a multi-million-dollar treasure. So, next time you find a Jefferson nickel, take a closer look. You might just hold a piece of history worth far more than 5 cents, a testament to the artistry, error-prone chaos, and enduring allure of coin collecting that keeps us all hooked on the hunt for that one-in-a-million find. Next, 1988 Jefferson nickels coin enthusiasts, collectors, and treasure hunters, to an exciting journey into the world of numismatics, where a seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece can transform into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Today, we're diving deep into the captivating story of the 1988 nickel, a coin that, while common in most respects, holds the potential to be worth an astonishing $10 million or more due to rare errors, mistakes, and mint mark anomalies that elevate it from pocket change to a collector's holy grail. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938 to honor the third U.S. President, Thomas Jefferson, has been a staple of American currency for decades, featuring Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and his iconic Monticello estate on the reverse, designed by Felix Schlag. In 1988, U.S. Mint produced these nickels in vast quantities at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with over 771 million struck in Philadelphia, marked with a P mint mark or no mint mark in earlier years, and over 677 million in Denver, bearing a D mint mark, alongside proof coins minted in San Francisco with an S mint mark. At face value, these coins are worth just 5 cents, and even in uncirculated condition, most 1988 Jefferson nickels fetch modest premiums of 30 cents to $3.58 for Philadelphia and Denver issues, or around $6.12 for proof coins, according to sources like USA Coin Book. However, what makes certain 1988 nickels potentially worth millions lies in the rare and fascinating minting errors that slipped through the mint's quality control, transforming these coins into numismatic treasures coveted by collectors worldwide. Let's start with the most dramatic errors that could elevate a 1988 nickel's value to stratospheric heights: minting mistakes like double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes. A double die error occurs when the coin's die, used to stamp the design, is misaligned during the hubbing process, resulting in a doubled image of certain design elements, such as Jefferson's profile, the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," or the Monticello steps on the reverse. While no specific 1988 Jefferson nickel double die has been documented as fetching $10 million, similar errors in other years, like the 1943 P double die nickel, have sold for tens of thousands, with an MS-67 example fetching $23,500 at a heritage auction. If a 1988 nickel were discovered with a dramatic double die, especially in pristine mint state, MS, condition with full steps, where the 6 steps leading to Monticello are sharply defined, it could command a premium far exceeding typical values, potentially reaching into the millions if it's one of a kind. The full steps designation, highly prized by collectors, significantly boosts value because it indicates a coin struck with exceptional precision, a rarity given the wear-on dies used for high mintage years like 1988. For instance, a 1964 Jefferson nickel with full steps in MS-67 sold for $14,100 in 2014, and a 1970 full steps nickel in MS-66 is valued at $10,500, suggesting that a 1988 nickel with a rare error and full steps could approach or exceed these figures under the right conditions. Another error that could propel a 1988 nickel's value is a repunched mint mark, RPM, a mistake from the era when mint marks were hand-punched onto dies, sometimes resulting in a secondary, misaligned mint mark image. Although hand-punching ended in the 1990s, 1988 was still close to this period, and an RPM error, such as a D over a misaligned D, or even a rare D over S, as seen in 1954 nickels, could make a coin exceptionally valuable. The 1942 D over horizontal D, for example, is a famous RPM error valued at up to $32,200 in MS-66 with full steps, and a hypothetical 1988 D/D or D/S RPM in similar condition could fetch comparable sums, especially if only a few examples exist. Off-center strikes, where the coin's design is misaligned and part of the blank planchet remains unstruck, are another error type that could skyrocket value. A 1988 nickel with a 50% off-center strike, where half the design is missing, could be worth $300 to over $1,000, but a more extreme error, such as a 90% off-center strike in pristine condition, could push values higher, potentially into the thousands or, if unique, much more. Clipped planchet errors, where the coin is struck on an incompletely cut blank, resulting in a curved or missing edge, are also collectible, with values ranging from $100 to $500 depending on the clip size and the coin's condition. A particularly dramatic clipped planchet on a 1988 nickel, especially if paired with another error like full steps, could command a significant premium. Another intriguing possibility is a 1988 nickel struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime or cent planchet, a rare error that occurred in other years, like the 1964 nickel struck on a Philippine 10 centavo planchet, which sold for $1,200 in MS-64. If a 1988 nickel were found struck on a foreign or incorrect planchet, its rarity could drive its value into the tens of thousands, and a unique combination of errors, say, a double-struck, off-center nickel on a wrong planchet, could theoretically approach the $10 million mark if it captured the imagination of wealthy collectors at auction. The condition of the coin is critical, as mint state coins graded MS-65 or higher, especially with full steps, are exponentially more valuable than circulated examples. The Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, assign grades from 1 to 70, with MS-70 being flawless, and coins in MS-67 or above with full steps are exceedingly rare for high mintage years like 1988 due to die wear and mass production. A 1988 nickel in MS-67 with full steps and a dramatic error could fetch thousands, and if it's a previously unknown variety, its value could escalate dramatically at auction, as seen with the 1964 SMS Jefferson nickel, which sold for $32,900 due to its rarity and special strike quality. Historical significance also plays a role in value. While 1988 nickels lack the wartime allure of 1942 to 1945 silver nickels, a unique error could make a coin a condition rarity, or a variety rarity, appealing to collectors seeking one-of-a-kind pieces. The 1988 S-proof nickels, struck in San Francisco for collectors, are less likely to have errors due to their careful production, but a proof coin with a missing mint mark or double strike could be exceptionally valuable, potentially fetching hundreds or thousands. The rarity of errors is a key factor. Fewer known examples mean higher value, and if only a handful of 1988 nickels with a specific error exist, their worth could soar. For example, the 1971 S no mint mark proof nickel, a rare error, is highly sought after, and a similar error in a 1988 S proof could command a significant premium. Market demand also drives value, as collectors prize dramatic, visible errors that stand out, such as the 1943 P fish hook nickel, where a die flaw creates a hook-like mark near Jefferson's portrait. If a 1988 nickel were discovered with a similar, easily identifiable error, it could become a favorite among collectors, pushing its value higher. The coin market is dynamic, with prices fluctuating based on auction results, collector interest, and new discoveries. A 1988 nickel with a unique combination of errors, say, a double die obverse, repunched mint mark, and full steps in MS-68, could theoretically fetch millions if it's deemed the king of Jefferson nickels, much like the 1964 SMS nickel's legendary status. To identify such a valuable 1988 nickel, collectors should examine coins under magnification for double dies, check Jefferson's profile, inscriptions, or Monticello details, repunched mint marks, look for overlapping D or P marks, off-center strikes, part of the design missing, or clipped planchets, curved edges. Weight is also a clue. A standard 1988 nickel weighs 5 grams, but one struck on a wrong planchet may be lighter or heavier. For instance, a nickel on a cent planchet would weigh closer to 3 grams, signaling a potential error. Collectors should also check for full steps on the reverse, as this designation can multiply a coin's value, especially in high grades. The 1988 nickel's high mintage makes errors rare, but not impossible, as the mint's quality control wasn't infallible, and mistakes slipped through, especially during high-speed production. The numismatic community thrives on such discoveries, and a previously unknown 1988 error could spark a bidding war at auction, as seen with other rare nickels like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, of which only 5 exist, valued at millions. While no documented 1988 nickel has reached $10 million, the potential exists if a coin combines extreme rarity, pristine condition, and a dramatic error that captures collectors' imaginations. To put this in perspective, the 1950 D nickel, with a low mintage of 2.6 million, is a key date valued at modest premiums today, but its value surged during the 1960s roll boom, showing how market hype can inflate prices. A 1988 nickel with a unique error could similarly become a numismatic sensation, especially if promoted as a one-of-a-kind find. Collectors should consult grading services like PCGS or NGC to authenticate and grade potential error coins, as professional assessment ensures maximum value at auction. Online platforms like eBay or heritage auctions are also hotspots for selling rare coins, with past sales of error nickels providing a benchmark for potential value. For instance, a 1953 S full steps nickel in MS-67 sold for $24,000, and a 1988 nickel with a comparable error and condition could approach or exceed this figure. The Jefferson nickel series, while often overlooked due to its longevity and high mintages, offers hidden treasures for those willing to search. The 1988 nickel, produced in an era of modern minting but still sus. Next 1986, P. Jefferson nickels USA coin enthusiasts, collectors, and treasure hunters, to an exciting deep dive into the world of the 1986 P. nickel, a seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece that holds the potential to be worth a staggering $7 million, far beyond its humble face value, due to rare errors, mint mistakes, and unique characteristics that make it a numismatic gem. Buckle up as we embark on a thrilling journey through the history, design, production, and the elusive imperfections that transform this unassuming coin into a collector's holy grail, perfect for anyone fascinated by the hidden treasures in their pocket change or those chasing the dream of striking it rich with a single coin find. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, was designed by German-born sculptor Felix Schlag to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, a founding father, and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, with his portrait gracing the obverse and his iconic Monticello estate featured on the reverse, a design that has remained largely consistent for decades, symbolizing stability in American coinage. By 1986, the Jefferson nickel was in its 48th year of production, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by the P Mint mark on the obverse, a practice that began in 1980 for Philadelphia minted nickels, marking a shift from earlier years when Philadelphia coins bore no mint mark. The 1986 P. Jefferson nickel, composed of a 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, weighs 5 grams, measures 21.21 millimeters in diameter, and has a plain edge, with a mintage of 536,883,360, making it a common coin in circulated condition, typically worth only its face value of 5 cents unless it exhibits exceptional qualities or rare errors. However, it's the possibility of errors and mint mark anomalies that elevates the 1986 P. Jefferson nickel into the realm of extraordinary value, with some specimens potentially commanding millions due to their rarity and desirability among collectors. Let's explore what makes this coin so special, starting with the historical context of its production in 1986, a year when the United States Mint was operating at full capacity to meet the demands of commerce, producing billions of coins across denominations, yet still prone to the occasional mistake that numismatists chase with fervor. The 1986 P. Jefferson nickel was struck during a period when minting technology was transitioning, with some processes still relying on manual techniques, increasing the likelihood of errors that could slip through quality control and into circulation, creating opportunities for collectors to find anomalies that drastically increase a coin's value. One of the most sought-after errors in coin collecting is the double die, where the design elements are struck twice, slightly offset, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the coin's inscriptions or portrait, and while no major double die varieties are widely documented for the 1986 P. Jefferson nickel, minor doubling on elements like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or Jefferson's profile could exist, potentially valued at hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on the clarity and extent of the doubling, as seen in other years like the 1939 double die reverse, where Monticello and 5 cents showed dramatic doubling, fetching premiums of up to $500 in high grades. Another error type that could make a 1986 P. Jefferson nickel exceptionally valuable is the repunched mint mark, RPM, a remnant of the hand-punching process used until the early 1990s, where the mint mark was manually struck onto the die, sometimes resulting in a second, misaligned punch that creates a visible overlap, such as a P over a slightly offset P. And while specific RPMs for 1986 P are not widely catalogued, similar errors on other dates, like the 1942 D over horizontal D, have sold for $15,275 to $32,200 in mint state with full steps, suggesting that a rare 1986 P RPM could command significant sums, potentially in the tens of thousands. The full steps designation, referring to the visibility of 5 or 6 distinct steps at the base of Monticello on the reverse, is another critical factor in determining value, as coins with sharp, well-defined steps are scarce due to the high strike pressure required to achieve this detail, and a 1986 P. Jefferson nickel in mint state 65, MS 65, or higher with full steps could be worth $50 to $100 or more, compared to 60 cents to $3.54 for a standard uncirculated coin, according to sources like USA Coin Book. More dramatic errors, such as off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned, leaving part of the blank planchet visible, can also significantly boost value, with a 1986 P nickel struck 50% off-center potentially fetching $100 to $500, depending on condition and the degree of misalignment, as collectors prize these visually striking errors for their uniqueness. Another rare and valuable error is the wrong planchet strike, where a nickel is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, such as a dime or quarter, and while no specific 1986 P examples are widely known, similar errors on other Jefferson nickels, like a 1964 nickel struck on a cent planchet, have sold for thousands, suggesting a 1986 P nickel on a foreign planchet could be worth $1,000 or more, depending on the planchet type and condition. Clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to an improperly cut blank, are also collectible, with values ranging from $20 to $100 for a 1986 P nickel with a significant clip, as these errors are relatively common but still desirable. Die cracks, where a break in the die leaves raised lines or ridges on the coin, can add $10 to $50 to the value, depending on the crack's prominence, while die cuts, larger breaks that Ascendancy Numismatics classifies a cut as a die break that results in a raised, irregularly shaped blob of metal on the coin's surface, often on the rim, and a 1986 P nickel with a significant cut could be worth $50 to $200, as these are scarcer and highly sought after. Another intriguing possibility is the overdate error, similar to the 1943 P3 halves fishhook nickel, where an incorrect date is punched over, creating a visible overlap, and while not documented for 1986 P, such an error, if discovered, could be worth thousands due to its rarity, as seen with the 1943 P overdate that fetched significant premiums for its wartime silver composition and unique error. The 1986 P Jefferson nickel's standard composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel gives it a melt value of approximately $0.0578, but its numismatic value hinges on condition, rarity, and errors, with circulated coins rarely exceeding face value unless they exhibit one of these anomalies. The Philadelphia Mint's high mintage in 1986 means most 1986 P nickels in circulation are common, but uncirculated examples, especially those graded MS65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can command $3.54 or more, with full step specimens potentially reaching $100 or higher in gem condition. The absence of 1986 P nickels in mint sets, as the United States Mint did not produce uncirculated coin sets in 1986, increases the scarcity of high-grade examples, as collectors typically rely on these sets for pristine coins, and estimates suggest only 20,000 to 30,000 1986 P nickels survive in near gem or gem condition, making them more valuable than their mintage suggests. Proof coins, struck with polished dies for collectors, were produced in 1986 at the San Francisco Mint, with the 1986 S. Jefferson nickel valued at $8.45 or more in proof 65 condition, but the focus here is on the 1986 P, as proof coins are distinct and not typically found in circulation. The allure of a $7 million valuation stems from the precedent set by other Jefferson nickels with extraordinary errors, such as the 1964 SMS Jefferson nickel, with fewer than 40 examples known, which sold for $41,231.25 in MS68 with full steps, highlighting the potential for a rare 1986 P error coin to achieve astronomical value if it mirrors such scarcity and quality. For instance, a hypothetical 1986 P nickel with a dramatic double die obverse, clear full steps, and a unique mint mark error, graded MS67 or higher, could theoretically approach or exceed $7 million if only a handful exist, as the numismatic market rewards extreme rarity, historical significance, and pristine condition, as seen with the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, with only 5 known examples, one of which sold for millions. The 1986 P. Jefferson nickel's design, featuring Jefferson's left-facing profile based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, includes inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," on the left and "Liberty," with the date on the right, separated by a star, while the reverse showcases Monticello with "E Pluribus Unum" at the top, United States of America, at the bottom, and 5 cents below Monticello. With the P mint mark to the right of Jefferson's portrait since 1968, a detail that could be the focal point of a valuable mint mark error. Collectors also prize coins with cameo or deep cameo contrast, where the design elements are frosted against a reflective field, though this is more common in proof coins, and a 1986 P business strike with such contrast would be exceptionally rare, potentially adding thousands to its value. The numismatic community's fascination with errors stems from their rarity and the stories they tell about minting mishaps, such as the 1942 D over horizontal D, where the mint mark was mispunched, creating a variety so scarce that fewer than 100 uncirculated examples are known, commanding prices up to $32,200. Similarly, a 1986 P nickel with a comparable error, like a P over a different mint mark or a significant overdate, would be a numismatic unicorn, with its value driven by the interplay of supply and demand, where low supply and high collector demand can. Next, 1954 Jefferson Nickels USA coins today. Coin enthusiasts, collectors, and treasure hunters, to an epic journey through the world of the 1954 Jefferson nickel, a seemingly humble 5-cent piece that holds the potential to be worth millions due to its rare errors, mint mark varieties, and unique characteristics that make it a numismatic legend. If you've ever wondered how a simple nickel from your pocket change could transform into a fortune, you're in for a treat today, as we dive deep into the history, design, minting process, and the extraordinary anomalies that elevate the 1954 Jefferson nickel to astronomical values, potentially reaching $3 million or more, far beyond its modest face value of 5 cents. Let's set the stage. The year is 1954, America is in the midst of a post-war economic boom, rock and roll is starting to shake up the airwaves, and the United States Mint is busy producing coins to fuel a growing economy. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, is a staple of American coinage, designed by Felix Schlag to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. president and author of the Declaration of Independence. This coin, with its iconic portrait of Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse, is struck in a standard composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters and a plain edge. Unlike the wartime nickels of 1942 to 1945, which contained 35% silver to conserve nickel for the war effort, the 1954 nickel returned to the pre-war copper-nickel alloy, making it visually distinct from its silver predecessors, which bore large mint marks above Monticello. The 1954 Jefferson nickel was minted at 3 facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, producing a combined total of nearly 200 million coins, with Philadelphia striking 47,684,050 coins, no mint mark, Denver producing 117,183,060 coins, marked with a D, and San Francisco minting 29,384,000 coins, marked with an S. While these numbers suggest that 1,954 nickels are common, it's the rare varieties, minting errors, and pristine conditions that can catapult their value into the stratosphere, making them some of the most sought-after coins in the numismatic world. Let's start with the mint marks, as they play a pivotal role in determining a coin's rarity and value. The Philadelphia Mint's 1954 nickels, lacking a mint mark, are relatively common in circulated condition, typically worth 10 to 20 cents, but in uncirculated grades like MS-60 to MS-65, they can fetch $2 to $50, with exceptional specimens graded MS-67 with full steps, FS. A designation indicating sharply defined steps on Monticello's entrance, reaching up to $575. The Denver Mint's 1954 D nickels, bearing the D mint mark to the right of Monticello, are the most common of the 3, yet high-grade examples with full steps can command significant premiums, with an MS-66 FS specimen famously selling for $9,693.75 at a 2020 auction, a testament to the coin's potential when condition and strike quality align perfectly. The San Francisco Mint's 1954 S nickels, marked with an S, have the lowest mintage of the year at 29,384,000, and while circulated examples are worth 10 to 20 cents, uncirculated coins in MS-65 can reach $30. And the ultra-rare MS67 FS examples have fetched up to $35,250 at auction in 2020, making them the priciest of the 1954 series due to their scarcity in top grades and the San Francisco Mint's notorious weak strikes, which make full-step specimens exceptionally rare, with only about 25. Certified by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Now, let's talk about the errors and varieties that can transform a 1954 nickel into a multimillion-dollar treasure, starting with the most famous, the 1954 S/D over mint mark error, where an S mint mark was punched over a D on the die, creating a visible D beneath the S on the coin's reverse. This error occurred because, in the 1950s, mint marks were hand-punched onto dies at the Philadelphia Mint before being shipped to branch mints, and a die intended for San Francisco was mistakenly punched with a D before being corrected with an S. This rare variety, especially in high grades like MS66, can fetch up to $3,450, as seen in a 2008 Heritage auction sale, and in pristine condition with full steps, its value could theoretically approach or exceed $1 million if a gem-quality specimen were to surface at auction, given the rarity of such errors and the fervor of error coin collectors. Another error to watch for is the double die obverse, DDO, where the design elements, particularly around Jefferson's eye, profile, or inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust, appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. A 1954 DDO nickel, especially with noticeable doubling, can fetch $50 to $500 in circulated condition, but in uncirculated grades with full steps, values could climb into the tens of thousands, as collectors prize these visually striking errors. Repunched mint marks, RPMs, such as D/D or S/S varieties, also add significant value, with coins showing clear overlapping mint marks selling for $20 to $200 depending on the clarity and grade. Off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned and part of the coin's surface is blank, are another valuable error, with 1954 nickels struck 10% to 50% off-center potentially worth $50 to $1,000, and dramatic examples with minimal design remaining could push values higher in pristine condition. Clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to an improperly cut blank, can add $10 to $100 to the value, while improper alloy mixing, resulting in dark or mottled Black Beauty nickels, can fetch $50 to $500 for their unique appearance. One of the most intriguing possibilities is the speculative existence of a 1954 nickel struck on a wrong planchet, such as a dime or cent blank, which could theoretically be worth $10,000 to $100,000 or more, depending on the planchet type and condition, though no confirmed examples are documented for 1954, making such a find a potential holy grail for collectors. The full steps designation deserves special attention, as it significantly boosts a coin's value due to the difficulty of achieving a perfect strike that preserves the 6 steps on Monticello's entrance. Coins graded MS65 or higher with full steps are rare across all 1954 mints, but the 1954 SFS nickels are the rarest, with their weak strikes making them a numismatic unicorn, potentially worth tens of thousands in top grades. To understand why these errors and varieties command such high prices, we need to explore the minting process of the 1950s, which was far less precise than modern digital minting. Dies were prepared manually, and mint marks were punched by hand, leading to errors like over-mint marks and repunched mint marks. The dies for Jefferson nickels required high strike pressure due to the copper-nickel alloy's hardness, and worn or poorly maintained dies often produced weak strikes, especially at the San Francisco Mint, reducing the number of full steps coins. Human error, such as misaligning the planchet or using the wrong die, further contributed to the creation of valuable mistakes. The numismatic market also plays a role, as collectors are willing to pay premiums for rarity, condition, and historical significance, with auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and Legend Rare Coin Auctions regularly seeing fierce bidding wars for high-grade and error coins. The 1954 S/D over mint mark, for example, is highly sought after because fewer than 100 uncirculated examples are known, and its visibility with the naked eye makes it a favorite among collectors who don't need a magnifying glass to appreciate the error. Grading is another critical factor, as coins are evaluated on a scale from 1 to 70 by services like PCGS and NGC, with uncirculated coins, MS60 and above, commanding higher prices, especially with full steps. A 1954 D nickel-graded MS66FS, for instance, is exponentially more valuable than an MS66 without full steps due to the rarity of perfect strikes. The historical context of 1954 adds intrigue, as it was the last year the San Francisco Mint struck Jefferson nickels before a 10-year hiatus, making 1954's coins a collector's favorite for their finality in the series. Hoarding during this period also reduced the number of high-grade coins in circulation, as many were saved by speculators anticipating future value. To illustrate the potential for a $3 million valuation, consider a hypothetical scenario: a 1954S/D nickel-graded MS67 plus FS with a dramatic double-die obverse and a unique provenance, such as being part of a famous collection or discovered in a historic hoard, could ignite a bidding frenzy at auction, especially if only one or two such specimens exist. While no single 1954 nickel has yet reached $3 million, the combination of extreme rarity, multiple errors, and perfect condition could push a coin into that range, as seen with other ultra-rare coins like the 1964 SMS Jefferson nickel, which has fetched over $30,000 for its scarcity. Collectors should also be aware of counterfeit risks, as high-value errors like the 1954S/D are targets for fraud, with criminals altering mint marks or dates to mimic rare varieties. Authentication by PCGS or NGC is essential to verify a coin's legitimacy. For those hunting these treasures, pocket change, old coin rolls, or estate sales are prime hunting grounds, though high-grade and error coins are more likely to surface at auctions or through reputable dealers. If you're unsure about a coin's value, professional appraisal through platforms like those offered by CoinValueChecker.com or consultation with a trusted dealer can help uncover hidden gems. The allure of the 1954 Jefferson nickel lies not just in its monetary value but in its story, a snapshot of mid-20th century America. Next, 2007 P. Jefferson Nickel USA coins today, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of numismatics, uncovering the hidden treasures that might be sitting in your pocket change right now. Today, we're embarking on an epic journey to explore the 2007 P. Jefferson nickel, a seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin that, due to rare errors, mint mark mistakes, and unique production quirks, could be worth an astonishing $5 million or more, far beyond its humble face value, and will unravel the intricate details that make this coin a collector's holy grail. So stick around as we reveal the secrets behind its value and what to look for in your own collection. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, is one of America's longest-running coin series, designed by Felix Schlag to honor the third U.S. President, Thomas Jefferson, with his portrait on the obverse and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse, and by 2007, the coin had undergone significant design changes, including a bold new obverse introduced in 2006 featuring a forward-facing Jefferson portrait by artist Jamie Franke, making it visually distinct from earlier iterations. While the reverse retained Schlag's iconic Monticello design, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by the P mint mark below the date on the obverse, a detail that plays a critical role in identifying valuable errors. In 2007, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 571 million Jefferson nickels for circulation, making the 2007 P a common coin in everyday transactions, with a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams, measuring 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and featuring a plain edge. But what elevates certain 2007 P nickels to a potential $5 million valuation are the rare and dramatic minting errors that occurred during production, errors that are so scarce and sought after that they transform an ordinary nickel into a numismatic masterpiece coveted by collectors worldwide. Minting errors occur when something goes awry during the coin production process, which involves creating a master hub, transferring designs to working dies, punching mint marks, and striking planchets, and at any stage, mistakes can happen, such as misalignment, improper die preparation, or equipment malfunctions, leading to anomalies that make a coin unique. And for the 2007 P. Jefferson nickel, several specific error types could theoretically push its value into the millions, drawing Parallels to other historically valuable error coins in the Jefferson series, like the 1964 SMS nickel or the 1942 D over horizontal D, which have fetched tens of thousands at auction due to their rarity and collector demand. One of the most significant errors to look for in a 2007 P. Jefferson nickel is the double die, where the design appears duplicated due to a misalignment during the die creation process, resulting in a noticeable doubling of elements like Jefferson's portrait, the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," or the date, and while no widely documented double die exists for the 2007 P. A hypothetical high-grade MS-67 or MS-68 specimen with a dramatic double die, especially if certified with the full steps, FS, designation, where all 6 steps of Monticello are clearly defined, could command an extraordinary premium, as collectors prize such errors for their visual impact and scarcity, potentially rivaling the 1955 Lincoln cent double die, which has sold for over $100,000 in top condition. Another error that could elevate a 2007 P nickel's value is a repunched mint mark, RPM, where the P mint mark is struck multiple times, slightly offset, creating a visible overlap, a phenomenon more common in earlier Jefferson nickels like the 1942 D over horizontal D, which sold for $32,200 in MS-66 with full steps. And while RPMs became less frequent after the 1980s due to automated minting processes, a rare 2007 P RPM, especially in pristine condition, could spark intense collector interest, potentially fetching tens or hundreds of thousands, as the mint mark error would be a unique anomaly in a modern coin series. Off-center strikes are another error type that could make a 2007 P nickel exceptionally valuable, occurring when the planchet is misaligned during striking, resulting in part of the design being missing or shifted, and a 2007 P nickel struck 50% or more off-center, yet retaining key design elements like the date and mint mark, could be worth thousands, with extreme examples in high grades potentially approaching the $1 million mark, as seen with other off-center error coins like the 1969 D. Jefferson nickel that sold for $33,600 in MS-65 due to its dramatic misalignment. Clipped planchet errors, where the coin is struck on a blank that wasn't fully cut from the metal sheet, resulting in a curved or incomplete edge, are also highly collectible, and a 2007 P nickel with a significant clip, especially in uncirculated condition, could fetch $100 to $500, though a unique multi-clipped specimen in MS-67 or higher might push values much higher, drawing parallels to a 1964 Jefferson nickel with a clipped planchet that sold for over $5,000. Wrong planchet errors, where a 2007 P nickel is struck on a blank intended for another denomination, such as a dime or quarter planchet, would be extraordinarily rare due to modern minting controls, but such an error could be valued in the tens of thousands, as seen with a 1943 Jefferson nickel struck on a cent planchet that fetched over $10,000. And a hypothetical 2007 P nickel on a foreign or precious metal planchet could theoretically reach millions, especially if it were a one-of-a-kind. Error verified by grading services like PCGS or NGC. Another rare possibility is a mule error, where a 2007 P nickel is struck with mismatched obverse and reverse dies, such as a Jefferson obverse paired with a different denomination's reverse, an error so rare in modern coinage that it could command millions, as evidenced by the 2000 Sacagawea $/Washington quarter mule that sold for over $100,000. And while no such mule is known for the 2007 P, its discovery would be a numismatic bombshell, instantly elevating the coin to legendary status. Die cracks, where the die develops fractures that transfer raised lines or irregular shapes onto the coin, are less dramatic but still valuable, and a 2007 P nickel with a prominent die crack through Jefferson's portrait or Monticello, graded MS-66 or higher, could fetch hundreds or thousands, especially if the crack is unique or part of a recognized die variety, as collectors value such imperfections for their uniqueness and the insight they provide into the minting process. Lamination errors, where the coin's surface peels or splits due to impurities in the metal, are another possibility, and a 2007 P nickel with a significant lamination error, particularly in high grade, could be worth $50 to $500, with exceptional examples potentially commanding more if they exhibit dramatic visual appeal, as seen with other Jefferson nickels like the 1943 P with lamination errors that sold for over $1,000. The full steps designation, while not an error, significantly boosts a coin's value, as it indicates a high-quality strike where all 6 steps of Monticello are fully defined, a feature that's rare in modern nickels due to worn dies or weak strikes, and a 2007P nickel graded MS67 or MS68 with full steps could be worth $500 to $5,000. With hypothetical perfect specimens potentially fetching more, drawing comparisons to a 1964 nickel-graded MS67 FS that sold for $14,100 in 2014. The condition of the coin is paramount, as the Sheldon grading scale, ranging from 1 to 70, determines value, with uncirculated coins, MS60 and above, commanding the highest premiums, and a 2007P nickel in MS68 or higher, especially with errors, would be exceptionally rare due to the high mintage and modern minting technology, which minimizes errors but makes those that occur exponentially more valuable. The rarity of errors in 2007P nickels is heightened by the Philadelphia Mint's advanced quality control, which reduced the frequency of mistakes compared to earlier decades, meaning any significant error would be a statistical outlier, increasing its desirability among collectors who chase the rarest of the rare. Market demand also plays a crucial role, as Jefferson nickels, while less popular than Lincoln cents or Morgan dollars, have a dedicated collector base, particularly for error coins and high-grade full-step specimens, and a 2007P nickel with a dramatic, well-documented error could ignite a bidding war at auction, potentially reaching the $5 million mark if it were deemed unique, akin to the 1918/7D Buffalo nickel that sold for $350,750 due to its overdate error. Historical context adds to the allure, as the 2007P nickel was part of a period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning designs, with the 2006 to 2007 coins marking the first use of Jamie Frankie's forward-facing Jefferson portrait, and any error tied to this transitional period could carry additional historical significance, making it more appealing to collectors. Counterfeit detection is critical, as rare errors attract forgers, and collectors must ensure authenticity through professional grading by PCGS or NGC, as these services verify errors and assign grades that directly impact value, with certified coins often selling for 10 to 100 times more than ungraded ones. The possibility of a 2007P nickel being struck on a silver planchet, a throwback to the 1942 to 1945 wartime nickels, is highly unlikely but not impossible due to mint errors, and such a coin would be a numismatic unicorn, potentially worth millions, as seen with wartime nickels missing mint marks that have sold for hundreds of dollars. Environmental factors, such as toning or discoloration from improper storage, can also affect value, with attractively toned error coins sometimes commanding a premium, while damaged coins. Next, 1968 D. Jefferson nickels USA coins today. Coins enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and curious minds to another exciting deep dive into the world of numismatics, where we uncover the hidden gems that make pocket change potentially worth millions. Today, we're zooming in on the 1968 D. Jefferson nickel, a seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece that, under the right circumstances, could be valued at an astonishing $20 million due to rare errors, mint mark anomalies, and unique characteristics that set it apart from its face value. Let's embark on this fascinating journey to explore why this particular coin, struck at the Denver Mint in 1968, holds such extraordinary potential, delving into its history, design, production quirks, and the specific mistakes that transform it into a collector's holy grail. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, was designed by Felix Schlag to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. president and a founding father renowned for drafting the Declaration of Independence. Featuring Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and his Monticello estate on the reverse, this coin replaced the Buffalo nickel, which had been notoriously difficult to strike due to its high-relief design. By 1968, the Jefferson nickel was a staple of American currency, composed of a 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, weighing 5 grams, and measuring 21.2 millimeters in diameter with a plain edge. The Denver Mint, marked by the D Mint mark on the obverse to the right of Jefferson's bust, produced over 101 million of these nickels in 1968, making it a high mintage year compared to scarcer dates like the 1950 D, which had a mintage of just 2.6 million. Despite this large production, certain errors and varieties from 1968 D nickels elevate their value to staggering heights, captivating collectors who chase rarities that defy the odds. To understand why a 1968 D nickel could be worth $20 million, we need to explore the types of errors that can occur during the minting process, as these imperfections are the key to unlocking such astronomical value. Minting errors are mistakes made during coin production, ranging from minor blemishes to dramatic anomalies that create one-of-a-kind pieces. The 1968 D nickel, like other coins of its era, was susceptible to a variety of errors due to the U.S. Mint's high-volume production and the mechanical limitations of the time. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die, where the coin's design is struck twice with a slightly misaligned die, resulting in a visible doubling of letters, numbers, or other elements. A hypothetical 1968 D double die obverse, DDO, with pronounced doubling on Jefferson's profile, the date, or the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," could be a game-changer. If such an error were discovered with clear, dramatic doubling, say, a doubling so sharp that it rivals the famous 1955 double die Lincoln cent, it could command millions at auction, as collectors prize these visually striking errors. While no widely documented 1968 D double die nickel currently exists with a $20 million valuation, the potential for an undiscovered specimen with extreme doubling cannot be ruled out, given the mint's history of producing such errors. Another error that could push a 1968 D nickel into the stratosphere is a repunched mint mark, RPM, where the D mint mark was punched into the die multiple times, creating a visible overlap. In 1968, mint marks were hand-punched onto dies, a process prone to human error, and a dramatic RPM, such as a D over D with a clear secondary impression, could significantly increase the coin's value. For example, RPMs like the 1942 D over horizontal D, which has fetched prices up to $32,200 for high-grade specimens with full steps, demonstrate the premium collectors place on such varieties. If a 1968 D nickel were found with an extreme RPM, perhaps a D over S, where a Denver mint mark was mistakenly punched over a San Francisco one, the rarity and historical significance could drive its value into the millions, especially if graded MS67 or higher by a reputable agency like PCGS or NGC. The full steps designation also plays a critical role in elevating the value of Jefferson nickels, as it refers to coins with a sharply struck reverse showing 5 or 6 distinct steps on Monticello's staircase, a feature often blurred due to worn dies or weak strikes. A 1968 D nickel with full steps, particularly in gem condition, MS65 or above, is exceedingly rare, as the Denver Mint's high output often led to less precise strikes. A full steps 1968 D nickel in MS67 could fetch thousands on its own, but if paired with a major error like a double die or RPM, the value could skyrocket. For instance, a 1964 SMS Jefferson nickel with full steps sold for $32,900, illustrating the premium for exceptional strikes. If a 1968 D nickel were discovered with both a major double die and full steps, graded at the top tier of MS68 or MS69, it could plausibly approach the $20 million mark, as it would represent an unprecedented combination of rarity and perfection. Other errors that could contribute to such a valuation include off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned by 50% or more, creating a dramatic visual effect, or coins struck on the wrong planchet, such as a 1968 D nickel struck on a dime or cent planchet, weighing significantly less or more than the standard 5 grams. A 1964 Jefferson nickel struck on a centavo planchet, for example, sold for $1,200 at MS64, but a 1968 D nickel with a similar error in pristine condition could fetch far more due to its rarity. Another possibility is a Black Beauty nickel, caused by improper alloy mixing, resulting in a dark, distinctive appearance. These errors, while less common in 1968, could add significant value, especially if combined with other anomalies. The historical context of 1968 adds intrigue to the coin's potential value, as it was the year the U.S. Mint resumed using mint marks after a 3-year hiatus from 1965 to 1967, implemented to curb hoarding during a national coin shortage. This transition period increased the likelihood of minting errors, as the mint adjusted to new processes. The 1968 D nickel was struck at a time when the mint was producing over 1 billion coins annually to address this shortage, which sometimes led to quality control oversights. A unique error, such as a 1968 D nickel struck on a silver planchet left over from the wartime nickels, 1942 to 1945, though highly improbable, would be a numismatic unicorn, potentially valued in the millions due to its impossibility under normal circumstances. The condition of the coin is paramount, as collectors pay exponential premiums for coins in mint state, especially those graded MS65 or higher. A 1968 D nickel in circulated condition is typically worth only its face value of 5 cents, but an uncirculated specimen with a major error could be a game changer. For perspective, a 1970 D full steps nickel graded MS66 is valued at $10,500, and a 1964 SMS nickel reached $32,900, suggesting that a 1968 D nickel with a combination of errors and pristine condition could push the boundaries of known valuations. The $20 million figure, while speculative, is not entirely far-fetched when considering the precedent set by other ultra-rare coins, such as the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, of which only 5 exist, with one selling for $4.5 million. If a 1968 D nickel were discovered with a unique combination of errors, say, a double die obverse, an RPM, full steps, and an off-center strike, all in MS68 condition, it could rival such legendary coins. The allure of such a coin lies not only in its rarity but also in its story, as collectors are drawn to pieces that represent a moment of human or mechanical error frozen in time. To find such a valuable 1968 D nickel, collectors should scrutinize coins for specific characteristics, check the date and inscriptions for doubling, examine the D mint mark for repunching or unusual shapes, and inspect the Monticello steps for clarity. Using a loupe or magnifying glass is essential, as many errors are subtle to the naked eye. Grading by PCGS or NGC is crucial, as their certifications lend credibility and significantly boost value. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers are the go-to venues for selling such rarities, where competitive bidding can drive prices to extraordinary levels. The 1968 D nickel's potential to reach $20 million hinges on the discovery of an unprecedented error or combination of errors, but the history of numismatics shows that such finds are possible, as evidenced by the 1964 SMS nickel's emergence in 1993. For collectors, the hunt for a 1968 D Jefferson nickel worth millions is a thrilling pursuit, blending history, artistry, and the chance to uncover a treasure hiding in plain sight. So, the next time you come across a 1968 D nickel in your change, take a closer look. You might just be holding a fortune in your hand.